Hello, and welcome back to BeamNG.Drive. So, you might be thinking, hey Butch, that's not your logo, that's Z-Man's logo, and you would be correct. But I've been messing around with doing some universal skins inspired by Ashmaker, and then I was using the skins that Gav had made for me and Z-Man to mess around with this and make them colorable as well, so that we can do all sorts of stuff and, you know, do whatever we want. Or in this case, you know, we can make this back to Z-Man's colors. But in doing this, I ended up making a nice little, I think, a nice template. And I wanted to walk you through how you can use this template. The template file will actually be uploaded to the forums. I don't think it's worth putting on the repo because you're not going to actually, you know, use it in the repo, but in the forums, and you can download it and put it in. So let's go ahead and walk you through how this works. So I have already taken the file, the universal skin template, and I put it in my mods, and then I used BeamNG to unpack it. If you're not familiar with that, if you drop it in your mods folder, go to mods, and you find the one that you want. We can just do a little search for it. Universal skin template, and then you would hit unpack. And when you hit unpack, basically what it does is it tells the game, hey, this is in the unpacked folder, but then it just puts it in mods, unpacked, and it unzips it. So we have the universal skin template right here. Now, I like making a copy of this right off the bat. If you're only doing one skin, you can just do it right on this folder. But if, like me, you're going to be doing more than one, well, then you can just copy and paste, and you end up with a copy here. And I like to just rename this now so I can get rid of the dash copy. But technically, you don't have to, and I'll show you why you wouldn't have to. But we're just going to rename the word template here, and we're going to do leopard print colorable. I'm gonna get rid of the rest of that. So there we go. We got universal skin leopard print colorable, and inside there's a readme, and this is basically what this video is doing, is walking you through this whole readme. And then we're going to we'll look at the video vehicles, and we have all the vehicles in here, and in common we have some graphics, PNG files. And there's actually 3 of them. You only need 2 at the end, and I'll explain what they are when we get to that point. So the first thing we should do is get our image. Now, this was a pink leopard print that I had put together for Lady C at her request, and I wanted to make a colorable version of this. Actually, she gave me the idea, hey, you should make a colorable version of this. So I said, you know what, that's not a bad idea. So I took this in Photoshop, and I took the 3 colors that we had in here, and I changed them to be red, green, and blue. And that is important if you're making something colorable, because it has to be pure red. And by pure red, I mean, you know, R of 255, G and B of 0. And pure red will give you paint color 1. Green gives you paint color 2. Blue gives you paint color 3. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick export as PNG, and let's go to this new universal skin leopard print colorable vehicles common, and this is going to be the color palette map. So that's the right now it's template underscore .cp color palette, and we're just going to save it over top of that. Now, if you want to have something that is not colorable, like say, like whenever I do like Z-Man's logo or my logo, or you want to do something similar to that, in the color palette map, in the CP, you would delete that item so that you just had transparent background. So if you wanted to have something that was not colorable, say we wanted to come in here and make this not colorable, what you need to do is delete that, and I have to delete the layer underneath until you have transparent there. If it's transparent on the color palette map, it will not apply any of the paint 1, 2, or 3 colors onto it. Then what you would do is the B color in the same location, you would want to put whatever your non-colorable item would be, and the rest would be white. For this one right now, we're not going to do anything that is not colorable, but that's how you would do it. Is your B color is your base color. That's anything that doesn't get colored, and then everything else is white. And then your color palette map, everything is RGB except for what you want to have not colorable, and then that would be transparent. So we got that now saved in there. And if you didn't want anything colorable, you could literally just do your base color map with everything that you want, and then you could delete this template dash underscore CP, and then rename this to be template underscore CP. Literally just delete everything before that dash. And that would just make it so that everything else works as it's designed, but then nothing would be colorable. Not great if you're going to play infection, because you need it to be colorable to show that you're infected, but that's the idea. So we got our image in here, and at that point, there are two tools that I find to make this a lot easier. Now, it's not necessary to use these tools, but I think it makes it so much easier. So if we come back all the way back out to the unpacked folder, and we right-click on this, you'll see I have Rename with Power Rename. Power Rename is a tool that is part of the Windows Power Toys. It's free. They'll be in the README. There's a link to this. I'll put a link down in the description as well. But I can go Rename with Power, and then so I'm doing that on this folder, and that's literally everything in this folder. I'm going to say, hey, anywhere it says template, we are going to make that leopard print, if I can spell correctly, dash colorable. And you'll see what this is doing is it's actually renaming folders and file names so that everything, I mean, technically you wouldn't have to do this, but then if you ever tried to make a second one, you'd have conflicting files that would overwrite each other. So it's always good practice to have, specialized name. And then we're just going to hit apply. And it's going to take a second because it's renaming a whole bunch. And there we go. It's done. It popped off the other monitor. And now I can just close out of there. And if I were to go in here and look at the vehicles and ATV, that folder is now leopard print colorable. So that was step one. And step two is I like to use Visual Studio Code. The reason I like using Universal Studio Code is I can come in here. Let me just do a new window so we have something blank here. And I can go up here and open a folder. And now I can navigate to my mods, unpacked, and go find that Universal Skin Leopard Print Colorable. Select that folder. And now that whole folder is opened up in this editor. The benefit of that is I can go and do a search. And this will search through every file in that folder. And I'm going to say, find everything that says template, and we're going to replace that with leopard print dash colorable. And you can see every file, every location that's going to get rid of template and make it leopard print colorable. And I just hit this little button right here, replace all. And I'll replace 869 occurrences across 89 files. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing again for skin name, capital S, capital N with a space between. And this is going to be what it shows up under the part selector. So we'll do leopard print and then colorable in parentheses. And once again, just do a replace all. And then the last thing is your name. And this is where you would put your name. Because if you look, authors, Butch 13 Gaming, and your name. So you would just type in your name and hit replace all, and you'd be added to this, and it will show people that my work and your work is what made your skin. Now, for me, since it's just me, I'm going to get rid of the space and your name and replace that with nothing. And then there we go. So it's just me. And it's that simple. It is literally that simple. I hope. I mean, we're going to try to test this out, make sure it works. Now, I had BeamNG open when we got in here. So I will need to do a Control L. If you add a new folder, you need to refresh the Lua or restart the game. But Control L will refresh the Lua. If you just change the image after you have BeamNG open, you may need to do a Control R. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, to get it to do the new image. So now that I did that refresh, let's go to Paint Design here. All right, so I had to disable and re-enable the mod. So I just went into here, clicked on the mod, deactivated, activated. So now I come into vehicle config. Come in here and we have leopard print colorable. And give it a second to load up. And look at that. We have the colorable leopard print. I can go in and make these, you know, my colors. Actually kind of look better with the black. And that'll be available on every vanilla vehicle. Now, I will say, because it's just a universal skin and we're not changing things, some vehicles look better than others because they all have, you know, different UV unwraps, which is where images, how they get applied to the actual vehicle. But we come in here and do paint design. We will see, let me go back in and change my colors. We'll see that that did it for the cab, but not only the cab, we can come in here, go back to the rear frame, go back to the frame ending, go to the upfit, cargo box livery, and we have a leopard print colorable cargo box in there now too as well. So there you go. That is the quick, easy way to do a universal skin. Like I said, if you want to have things that are not colorable, it all comes down to doing the base color and something not white, and then deleting out that section on your color palette. And then if you want to go ahead and mess around with making things emissive, making things, you know, metallic, things like that, well, then you're gonna have to come in here and actually start editing, like some of the, you know, emissive factor. And you could use that replace all, emissive factor null, and turn that to emissive factor of whatever, of true. Or, of whatever the factor you want it to be. And an instance emissive, turn that to true. Or if you want to change the metallic factor. And you can do that using replace all if you can find them all. So, there's ways to do that. But just to get a base thing, that's as simple as it is. So, hope that you find that helpful. If you do make any mods or any liveries with it, let me know. I'd be curious to see what you come up with. But for now, we have a universal colorable leopard print. And like I said, I'll have the template up on the forums. I'll put a link down in the description. So you can go through, follow these directions, follow the README. Hopefully come up with your own fun skins. And yeah, they'll work in single player. If you want them to work in multiplayer, it has to be on a mod that, or on a server that you control, or a server that you know the owner of, so that they can put your mod into the server. And if you're going to do that, you would literally just go back into your mods and pack it, which just zips it back up again. And then if we come back into our my mods folder now, you'll see that I have a universal skin leopard print colorable.zip. And that's what you would upload onto your server's resource folder. As always, hope you enjoyed. If you want your own BeamNP server, don't forget, I always put the little thing up there and have it in my description. You can go to Pedalhost and use code BUTCH30, all capital, and get 30% off your first 3 months. That's who I use for my servers, is Pedalhost. They've treated me well. And if you need one, I think it's one of the cheapest ways to get a server. With that, I hope you enjoyed. Have yourself a good one. Peace.